making headlines this hour. President Dr. Mohammad Muizzu assures the administration will remain steadfast in its commitment to protecting the younger generation from the expanding dangers of tobacco. Ahmad Nazim, the Member of Parliament for Dikkar, formally resigns from his position as Deputy Speaker of the Parliament. State Electric Company Limited pledges its full support towards achieving the government's ambitious target of increasing renewable energy usage to 33% by 2028.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to PSM News in English with me, Hafiz Abdul Sattar. Now the news in detail. The administration will remain steadfast in its commitment to protecting the younger generation from the expanding dangers of tobacco. President Dr. Mohammad Muizzu assures the public in a social media statement posted to mark World No Tobacco Day, a global initiative observed annually on 31st May.
The statement, which renewed the administration's resolve to rescue Maldivian society from the hazards of tobacco use, highlighted a significant stride taken by the administration. The Maldives holds the distinct honor of being the first nation globally to begin enforcing a generational ban against tobacco, a sweeping initiative that included the prohibition of e-cigarettes. President Muizzu stated as new threats emerge, including flavored nicotine pouches and AI-driven marketing tactics targeting young people, the administration will remain vigilant. The state will strengthen tobacco control measures, cessation services, smoke-free jurisdictions, and legislative reforms, while establishing dedicated cessation clinics, formally designating no-smoking areas, and systematically amending laws to safeguard the youth. He urged a collaborative effort from all citizens is necessary to build a healthy tobacco-free nation. First Lady Sajida Mohammed also posted to social media, urging the public to reaffirm our shared responsibility to protect future generations from the harmful effects of tobacco and other products that continue to target young people. Noting that Maldivian youth deserve the chance to be free from nicotine addiction, the First Lady emphasized that while the nation has taken historic steps towards a tobacco-free future, awareness, education, and collective action remains essential. Recent structural reforms implemented by the administration to combat this epidemic include increasing tobacco import duties and raising the minimum legal purchasing age from 18 to 21 years. Furthermore, new regulatory mandates dictate that tobacco products can only be imported and sold in the Maldives if they are accompanied by explicit health warnings detailing their level of danger. Bolstering these restrictions, a comprehensive generational ban took effect on the 1st of November last year, explicitly prohibiting the use and sale of tobacco products to any children born after 2007.
A new 5-year national drive to slash tobacco consumption was unveiled on 31st May as a joint press conference held at the President's office. The initiative was announced by Minister of Health, Family and Welfare, Gila Ali, who was joined by 3 ministers involved in the campaign. Minister Gila highlighted the government's recent achievements in tobacco control, noting that a generational ban prohibiting the sale and use of tobacco products to anyone born after 2007 came into force on 1st November 2025, and that a blanket ban on electronic cigarettes has already been implemented. She also pointed to higher import duties on tobacco, the raise of the minimum age for tobacco sales to 21, and the requirement that all tobacco packaging carry graphic health warnings. The new campaign, set to run through for the next 5 years, will combine public awareness drives with incentives and concessions aimed at encouraging smokers to quit. The Minister of Education, Higher Education and Skills Development, Dr. Ismail Shafiu, outlined a school-focused component. During the briefing, Minister of Youth, Empowerment, Sports and Fitness, Abdullah Rafiu, outlined a series of youth-centric actions. The plan includes appointing anti-tobacco ambassadors, staging advocacy programs, disseminating information through atoll youth networks, and mobilizing community events to save the country from the tobacco epidemic. Ahmad Nazim, the Member of Parliament for Dikar, formally resigns from his position as a Deputy Speaker of the Parliament just as lawmakers were preparing to commence a legislative session intended to proceed with a motion for his removal. His departure from the leadership post was confirmed during Sunday's parliamentary session. An additional session will convene tomorrow to address the subsequent proceedings. Abdul Rahim Abdullah, the Speaker of the Parliament, announced, noting that a new Deputy Speaker will be elected during this session. A formal resolution seeking to dismiss the Deputy Speaker from his position was initially introduced to the legislature on 14th May. The Secretariat of the Parliament stated that the handling of this motion is moving forward in complete accordance with the Constitution and parliamentary regulations. In a statement released publicly confirming his resignation from the leadership role, the former Deputy Speaker voiced his opposition to the initial proceedings. Nazim expressed in the statement that he firmly denies the underlying allegations and matters submitted as grounds for his dismissal. The Managing Director of the national carrier, Ibrahim Iyas, announces during a program broadcast by PSM News that Maldivian has ordered 2 additional ATR aircraft under a project to phase out the Dash 8 planes currently utilized within its fleet.
The corporate initiative, launched in 2022 to replace the aging planes, aims to deliver 1 new aircraft by late this year and the second by late next year, enabling the carrier to realize a substantial portion of its fleet modernization program. The Dash 8 models, which have serviced domestic flight routes since 2008, are deeply aged and require substantial expenditure for repairs. Driven by these escalating operational costs, the company resolved to transition to an ATR-dominated fleet, which currently includes 5 ATR planes. Maldivian maintains a diverse fleet totaling 27 aircraft, consisting of 1 wide-bodied Airbus A330, 1 narrow-body Airbus A320, 5 ATR aircrafts, 9 Dash 8 aircraft and 11 Dash 6 twin otter aircraft. Beyond domestic renewal, expanding international reach remains a primary objective for the government. Aligning with the pledges of President Dr. Mohammad Muizzu, state initiatives are progressing to procure an additional wide-bodied aircraft, which Island Aviation Services Limited is actively working to bring to the country by late this year.
State Electric Company Limited, Stelco, pledges its full support towards achieving the government's ambitious target of increasing renewable energy usage to 33% by 2028, according to the company's Managing Director, Dr. Ali Aswar.
As the primary electricity provider serving the capital city, as well as several islands across the atolls, Stelco recognizes its critical role in helping the government realize this landmark goal. Aswar described the president's decision to raise the renewable energy proportion to 33% as a far-sighted and crucial step for the nation's future. Beyond the Male project, Stelco is actively working to integrate solar energy into power plants across the islands it serves. The company has identified Rakidu in Vavu Atoll as a particularly noteworthy pilot project with the goal of generating most of the island's electricity needs through solar power. Similar initiatives are planned for other islands. Additionally, renewable energy works are underway in several Stelco-served islands under the POISE program, which is expected to catalyze a major transformation in the Maldives' energy system. The Maldives has made significant progress in promoting renewable energy, particularly in solar power initiative. The government's Energy Act and Energy Sec roadmap aim to ensure the energy supply is adequately reliable, sustainable, safe, and affordable. Private sector investments in renewable energy are playing an increasingly important role, contributing not only to intentionally set climate goals, but also strengthening the nation's energy security and economic resilience.
In a significant development for Maldives maritime operations, container ships begins docking at Tilafushi Industrial Island, with loading operations for empty containers are now officially underway.
Maldives Ports Limited confirmed that the MSS Galena, a vessel operated by Maldives State Shipping MSS, successfully completed the maiden trial run at the newly established facility marking a pivotal moment in the nation's effort to address long-standing congestion challenges at Malé Commercial Harbour. MPL's proactive response to the operational difficulties arising from space constraints at the capital's primary port facility. According to MPL officials, the organization has been systematically identifying and implementing solutions to enhance service quality and streamline port operations. Over the past 2 months, substantial infrastructure improvements have been completed at Tilafushi, most notably the construction of a 60-meter quay wall that now serves as the foundation for the dedicated empty container depot. This operational arrangement will significantly reduce the time ships spent in port, MPL said, explaining that container vessels traditionally return with empty containers after discharging their cargo at Malé Commercial Harbour. Previously, the logistical challenges associated with loading these empty containers caused vessels to remain docked for multiple days, creating bottlenecks in the shipping schedule. By shifting empty container operations to Tilafushi, MPL anticipates smoother workflow at the capital's main port, while simultaneously providing more efficient turnaround times for shipping vessels. The new functional empty container depot at Tilafushi is designed as a specialized facility capable of storing, maintaining, cleaning, and repairing empty shipping containers. Such depots play a critical role in the logistical chain, serving as storage and preparation site for containers before they are returned to shipping lines for reuse. MPL has confirmed that the depot boasts a total capacity of 3,000 TEUs, 20-foot equivalent units, providing substantial additional capacity to the nation's port infrastructure. MPL officials have been careful to characterize this development as a temporary measure while larger infrastructure projects reach completion. The current Tilafushi operation will remain in effect until the anticipated opening of the new international commercial port at Tilafushi in November 2027. Until that time, the empty container depot and associated docking facilities will serve as an interim solution to the capacity challenges that have plagued Malé Commercial Harbour.
Bank of England Governor Andrew Bailey says that allowing inflation to run above the central bank's 2% target is justified given the uncertainty about the impact of the Iran war on the economy and the weak pace of growth.
The Bank of England's Monetary Policy Committee kept interest rates on hold on April 30th as it waited to see the economic impact of the Iran war, even as the central bank said it expected inflation to climb in response to the energy price shock from the conflict.
Given the context of softness in the real economy and uncertainty around the scale and duration of the shock, tolerating temporarily above target inflation to provide some support for the real economy is an appropriate way to approach the trade-off. But that tolerance would weaken if signs of second-round effects begin to emerge.
In his speech, Bailey reiterated comments he made last week, in which he said that the BOE has tightened monetary policy by taking rate cuts off the table and that it is already affecting the economy.
Having taken expected cuts off the table for now, we already tightened policy considerably in response to the shock relative to what had been expected by markets. And that's already affecting financial conditions and the economy.
Bailey and most of his colleagues on the MPC have previously signaled that there is no rush to raise borrowing cost. By contrast, policymakers of the European Central Bank have signaled a likely rate rise in June after it cut rates by more than the BOE before the war.
Ecuadorian President Daniel Noboa announces in a video that he will lift tariffs on Colombian products after speaking with right-wing presidential candidate Abelardo de la Espriella, marking a step towards ending a trade war between the Andean neighbors that started over border security concerns 2 days ahead of the presidential poll.
Noboa spoke with the presidential hopeful during a live stream on De La Espriella's YouTube account, where the lawyer and businessman pledged to align with Ecuador if he wins the election. De La Espriella said he would join the Shield of the Americas, a coalition of American nations including Ecuador and the US, to combat organized crime in the region. Colombia's foreign ministry on Saturday accused Ecuador of deliberate interference in Colombia's presidential election after the conversation between Noboa and De La Espriella. The Colombian Foreign Ministry rejects the misleading presentation of the decision to remove the tariff as a measure of good faith by the Ecuadorian government, it said in its own statement, though it added it would remove measures adopted to mitigate Ecuador's tariff. Ecuador has gradually imposed tariff on imports from Colombia since January, reaching a 100% rate in May, citing what it called Colombia's failure to secure the border from crime and drug trafficking. Colombia has denied this accusation and responded with tariffs of its own and the suspension of electricity sales to its neighbor. On May 4th, center-right presidential candidate Paloma Valencia also announced on X that Noboa had agreed to lower the rate to 75% on June after a phone conversation with her as a demonstration of his goodwill to work with the next government. On May 7th, the Andean Community, a free trade bloc among Ecuador, Peru, Colombia, and Bolivia, ordered the two nations to remove the measures, saying they breached the free trade agreement. The deadline for the two countries to remove the tariffs was May 21st, according to Colombian media. Reuters was not able to independently verify the location and date the video was filmed.
The United Nations condemns a reported overnight drone strike that hit a residential building in Galati, Romania, near the Ukrainian border, injuring 2 people.
UN spokesperson Stefan Dujarric said UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres was alarmed by the incident and warned it underscored the danger of further escalation in Russia's war in Ukraine.
The Secretary General is alarmed by the reported overnight drone strike involving a residential building in the city of Galati in Romania. This reportedly injured 2 people. Just yesterday in his remarks, as you'll recall, the Secretary General told the Security Council, warned the Security Council about the dangers of further escalation of the war in Ukraine. We strongly condemn any attacks against civilians and civilian infrastructure wherever they occur.
Romania said a Russian drone entered its airspace during an attack on neighboring Ukraine before crashing into a 10-story apartment block and exploding on impact. NATO accused Moscow of reckless behavior and said the alliance stands ready to defend every inch of Allied territory. Romanian officials said that 2 F-16 fighter jets were scrambled during the incident while dozens of residents were evacuated from the damaged building. Russia denied the accusations, calling claims about Russian drones in Europe unsubstantiated. The incident is expected to heighten concerns about the war spilling into NATO territory along the alliance's eastern flank.
U.S. Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth told reporters that the United States, Britain and Australia are working together to develop unmanned undersea vehicles as part of their trilateral AUKUS defense pact.
The program comes under AUKUS so-called Pillar 2 to develop advanced defense technology, including quantum computing, undersea technology.
Together, today we're pleased to announce the first AUKUS Pillar 2 signature project focused on fielding advanced uncrewed undersea vehicles, or UUVs. And I want to thank these 2 gentlemen for their leadership in ensuring we stayed on track with Pillar 2 and found something critical to all 3 of our countries. This signature project will deliver a suite of highly adaptable, multi-mission UUV payloads designed to support undersea operations and maintain our collective advantage in the maritime domain.
Hypersonic, artificial intelligence, and cyber technology. Formed by the 3 countries in 2021, AUKUS is part of their efforts to push back against China's growing power in the Indo-Pacific region. China has called the AUKUS pact dangerous and warned it could spur a regional arms race.
Tens of thousands of Parisian fans jumped with joy and cheered for their home team at the Parc des Princes Stadium as Paris Saint-Germain won their 2nd Champions League title.
PSG held their nerve in a cagey Champions League final to retain the title by beating Arsenal 4-3 on penalties as Saturday's showdown ended 1-1 after extra time, cementing the French side's status among Europe's modern greats. Arsenal defender Gabriel blasted his spot kick over Matteo Safanov's crossbar at the Puskas Arena, his miss confirming PSG as the first club to retain the trophy, since Real Madrid completed their 3-year reign from 2016 to 2018. Long dismissed as glamorous underachievers despite vast resources, the Ligue 1 champions have now forged a dynasty under Luis Enrique, marrying attacking brilliance with resilience to establish themselves as the dominant force in European football.
Soup fans from around the world flocks to Vilnius for the city's annual celebration of much loved and brightly colored national staple.
Lithuanian pink soup, or salty barachia, is made with beetroot and fermented kefir, served cold with herbs, cucumbers and boiled eggs.
We had a survey made with around 10,000 people in Lithuania, and we were asking them which is their favorite, most traditional Lithuanian food. And the majority of them said it's pink, called pink soup. So this is very special for us, obviously. And then the reason why we built the festival around it was because we just wanted to have a symbol of the city and a tradition and something special where all the people can gather and we can attract attention of the tourists also, you know.
It's the 4th year the festival has turned the Lithuanian capital pink, and organizers say they expect around 100,000 visitors, including soup fanatics from around the world. The festivities include a boat parade, a waiter race and a giant pink slide.
And that's all we have for this hour. Thank you for watching. Wish you all a very pleasant time ahead.